Hey, what's up, Dynasty Owners? Jay Pounds here. Got another weekly video for you guys. Obviously, we're doing some rebuild stuff again. And as I'm sitting here thinking about it, contenders are part of rebuilding, and I don't do enough for you guys, for you contenders out there. So I think next week I'll probably do maybe like players you contenders should go out and trade for before the season starts and their value gets too high. Something along those lines. Maybe if that's something you guys want to see, just kind of let me know in the comments on Twitter or whatever. Um, if you're a new user, maybe you've made an account, maybe you haven't. Maybe you're thinking about joining the league, maybe you just joined the league and haven't drafted yet. Make sure you guys are watching these videos. All three of us, me, Matt, and Steve, we all put out videos on Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays. This last week, the jerk talked about his top 10 wide receiver rankings and I believe some blind comparisons. Steve did quarterback wide receiver stacks, and I got mine coming out, when it releases and you guys are watching this. Um, but I highly suggest you go back, a little bit and kind of look over those videos and articles as well. It will really help you in Dynasty Owner. I really underestimated how much strategy is involved in this, and I'm still learning new ways and new techniques to handle things, and I'm trying to share all of those with you guys. I tried to be as fair as possible. I only put one bid on one of these guys, and I have three different leagues right now. I'm going to add a couple more startups, but I bid on Marquez Callaway, and then as I was thinking about it, I'm like, you know what? I'll wait. I'll let my fellow Dynasty owners bid with me. Excuse me, and we'll have a little bit of fun with it. I just kind of gave you one of the guys here, but this week's article is going to be article video is going to be, I called it the hateful 8.5. And if you want to know the reasoning behind it, go ahead and read the article. It's at dynastyowner.com. And, it's nothing hilarious or anything like that. But basically, it's the Hateful Eight was a boring movie. And I'm sure you guys are kind of bored with hearing all these deep sleepers or whatever you want to call them. But these are guys that I've seen that are 60% owned or 60% rostered, or 60% or less rostered in Dynasty Owner, and I think they have a decent chance of making an impact in the next year or two. And all of them are young, all of them are cheap. They're not necessarily rookies. There's a couple of second year guys, and maybe one of them's a third year guy. But anyway, we got 8 players to go over here. 8.5. Don't forget the half. That's kind of the funny part, I guess. But hopefully you guys enjoy this one, and let's get right into it. Number one, we got, as I mentioned earlier, Marquez Callaway. Hope I said that right, Callaway. Marquez or Marquez, which one is it? I don't know. You guys tell me. Marquez Callaway. Now I done messed myself up. Anyway, Callaway, wide receiver, New Orleans Saints, 2 years, 765,000. He is 52.5% rostered. This kid, he didn't have a spectacular year or anything last year, but he was solid at points. He had 21 catches, 213 yards in 11 games. And then the number 2 and 3 wide receiver spot in New Orleans is just wide open this year. And, Traquan Smith is there. Lil Jordan Humphrey, or I think is his name. And then Harris, I can't remember his first name off the top of my head. So that's the type of talent he's competing with. So I think he has a chance to shine there. At least somebody's going to have to. And then if anything like last year happens to Michael Thomas, where he misses any type of time, it's just going to be somebody's going to be a massive value in this offense. Somebody has to be at that point. So take your shots where you can. And I think Marquez Callaway, I done did it again, guys. Oh man, I need to get some sleep. Marquez Callaway is a great dart throw, as good as you're going to get at this point right now. We're kind of in the boring stretch of things, but this is where you're at in fantasy at this point. You got to find the gems in the rough and sift through all of the noise coming out from the teams pumping up their rookies and telling you how amazing they are. Just really listen to things. And then with Callaway, obviously, he played last year, so you can go off of that. He's familiar. He's got Sean Payton, possibly a gunslinger, and Jameis Winston, and former number one overall pick. If it's Taysom Hill, I'm not as excited, but still somebody's got to show up opposite of Michael Thomas. So why not Callaway? I almost said why not Michael Thomas. Oh man, I'm out of it right now, guys. All right, number 2. Oh, by the way, these are not in any type of order or anything like that. They're just the 8.5 guys that I feel are potentially going to have some impact here within, at least in the near future. We got Trey McKitty, tight end, Los Angeles Chargers, 4 years, 1.1, might as well be 1.2 million, 34.1% owned in Dynasty Owner. Trey McKitty is a 3rd-round pick, so obviously, if the Chargers are drafting him in 3rd round, they like him. They're going to give him a chance at some point, and he's only really got Jared Cook in front of him. Not to mention you tie this young tight end who is very athletic from what I can tell. I'm not a professional scout by any means, but from what I can tell, he is extremely athletic. Not the best blocker, but if he can kind of figure out how to navigate his way on an NFL field, he could be pretty solid, especially with Justin Herbert throwing him the ball. You always want to tie, if you're picking up these young tight ends, you just maybe try to tie them, if you're not sure on the talent, tie them to a good young quarterback and hope that pans out. Somebody like say we're talking about Pat Freiermuth here, and you're not sure on the prospect of it or of them, and you obviously wouldn't be so certain about that because Ben Roethlisberger is probably only going to play one more year, so you have no idea who's going to be throwing the kid the ball. But here you got Trey McKitty. The Chargers aren't letting him go or letting Herbert go anywhere. And, as you see, McKitty's locked in there for 4 years. He's a 3rd-round pick, so it's highly unlikely that they just cut him or anything like that. So I think he's worth an easy stash. He should be, I'd say, at minimum 90% owned. There's no reason he shouldn't be. Same with Callaway too. Honestly, if you're a rebuilding owner and you don't have Callaway on your roster, you better be stacked on your practice squad. I'm gonna look at picking McKitty up. Just a heads up to those of you that are in my leagues. I am gonna attempt to pick up McKitty here today. The day this releases. I don't think it's it'll release tomorrow from when I'm filming it, but I am going to attempt to pick up McKitty. So if you guys want him, be ready to spend some big bucks, $100 million dynasty dollars. I'm going to bid on him if I need to. No, I'm just kidding, but be ready to bid. No joke. At number 3, we got Jalen Darden, Tampa Bay Buccaneers wide receiver, 4 years, $1 million. He is 50% owned in half of the Dynasty Owner leagues, and in my opinion, not necessarily enough. The kid's talented. He didn't play at a big Power 5 school or anything like that, but he put up great numbers. He finished with 19 touchdowns at North Texas in 2020, which was good enough for second in the FBS. So he's a playmaker. 8.2 catches a game, 132 yards per game, which is solid. As well, he's playing with Tom Brady. He's got an eerily similar profile to Julian Edelman. The kid's a former quarterback. He played for a small school. He's a smaller guy. He's probably going to be a good slot receiver. He plays special teams, and he just seems like he wants to do what it takes to win. He just really, really reminds me of Julian Edelman. And, if he turns into half of what Julian Edelman is, he'll be a great bench player. Julian Edelman's a borderline Hall of Famer, and if he would have, maybe I shouldn't say stayed healthy, but played with Tom Brady a little bit longer and things like that, I think he'd be a surefire Hall of Famer. But you never know with Julian Edelman. It's hard telling what the voters will do there. Um, Personally, I'd put him in. He's got, he played with. Then again, he played in a great system. He played with Tom Brady, who obviously he's the GOAT, no questions asked. Even though I can't stand the guy, but he was an integral part of that dynasty. So yes, I think you put him in. He was a big time part of football history. Somebody you're always going to remember because of the Super Bowls that they won, and things like that. So yeah, personally, yeah, I think he should be in. And I am not a Patriots fan by any means. Next up, we got Caleb Huntley, running back, Atlanta Falcons, 3 years, 800,000. He's only 16% owned in Dynasty Owner, guys. I talked about this kid a few weeks back before our rookie drafts, and as a potential third round pick or somebody that you're going to have to pick up right after, and nobody listened. The Falcons running back room is absolutely wide open. If there is going to be a James Robinson in 2021, it is coming out of Atlanta, guys. There is no doubt about it. It will come out of Atlanta 100%. And barring injury, I should say. They're clear. Somebody can beat out Mike Davis. It's not impossible. Mike Davis is good. He's not great. If one of these running backs, teams happen to miss him. Caleb Huntley didn't hardly play his senior season. I think he was injured a little bit, and then just COVID kind of happened, and he just sat the rest of the year out. So that hurt his draft stock. And running backs don't tend to go very high anyway. Some of them, your elite talents will, but if one of these guys come out and show out in training camp, it's not gonna completely shock me if it's a 50-50 workload in Atlanta right out the gate. It wouldn't shock me a bit. Mike Davis, like I said, he's good, not great. I think he's more of a fill-in back. As we seen him try to play the whole season last year, he broke down quite a bit in the end. He just wasn't putting up the numbers that he was in the beginning of the year. Yes, he had great overall stats, but look at the per game, his per game stats. They weren't great by any means. They weren't bad by any means, but it's something that I could see maybe a Javion Hawkins or a Caleb Huntley getting in there and taking that over. I guess I kind of understand Javion Hawkins over Caleb Huntley, but I don't get the Javion Hawkins being 100% owned and Caleb Huntley at 16%. Both of them have an equal shot at starting, in my opinion. Yeah, Javion Hawkins looks a little bit more talented, but Caleb Huntley's a bruiser, man. He could be goal line back. He wasn't a bad pass catcher from everything that I read and watched on him. He didn't have eye-popping pass catching numbers by any means, but like I said, this is a wide open room, and Caleb Huntley is 100% worth a roster spot, especially if you got anybody that you just don't care for on your roster. I'd be replacing them with this guy pretty quickly. All right, next up we got Ian Book, New Orleans quarterback, 4 years, $1 million, 51% owned. All right, Ian Book, guys, this is, oh man, this is somebody. How do I want to word this? I don't think he's ever going to be a starter. These late round or undrafted. I can't remember if he was a sixth round pick or undrafted. It is boggling my mind right now. Let me look that up for you guys. But anyway, he's going to be playing for Sean Payton, yes. But sorry, I can't focus right now. Yeah, he'll be playing for Sean Payton in a great offense, But like I said, these late round guys, the fourth round. Sorry, I was getting that mixed up with some. I'm not too sure which guy I was getting that mixed up with. Frank Darby, who you'll see here in a little bit. But anyway, Ian Book, playing for Sean Payton. He's a fourth round pick. Blah 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 blah. I'm rambling, but